Hi students, good morning. Welcome to virtual online classes. This is P. Venkateswarlu, lecturer in physics, APR Junior College, Tatupodi from Vijayanagar district. In this session, I would like to teach ray optics in physics. What is optics? Optics is nothing but the study of light is called as optics. Study means the branch of science which explains the behavior of light and also properties of light. That branch of science is called optics. In this we clearly observing that there is a term that is light. So we are very familiar with the term light in lower classes. What is light? In general, light is a form of energy which helps us to see the objects very clear. That form of energy is called as simply light. But according to physics, what is light? It is a part of electromagnetic spectrum which helps us to see the objects. That is also called as light. Here we can observe in electromagnetic spectrum means the orderly arrangement of different electromagnetic rays according to their wavelengths is called as electromagnetic spectrum. Once again we recollect the electromagnetic spectrum which are orderly arranged the electromagnetic radiations. So that is gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet rays, visible rays, infrared, microwaves, radio waves. So this is the region where the human eye can identify or observe the objects very clear. That is called as visible region. So the range of the visible region is nothing but 400 nanometers to 700 nanometers. So this is the brief definition of light according to electromagnetic spectrum. Coming to our main topic, that is ray optics. So optics is classified into two types according to either property of light or the dimension of the object with respect to the wavelength of light. So basing on the dimension of light, how we can define the definition of ray optics? It is also called as geometrical optics. The dimension of the object is bigger than the wavelength of light. Dimension of objects means here we can observe the objects are mirrors, lens, prism and optical instruments. If the dimension of all the objects are bigger than the wavelength of light, which is 400 nanometers to 700 nanometers. That part of optics is called as ray optics. Or otherwise we can also say that the branch of science which explains the behavior of light based on the rectilinear propagation of light. We know that the light is always travels in a straight path. That is called as rectilinear propagation of light. So basing on the rectilinear propagation of light, we can also study the behavior of light. That is also called as ray optics. And the second one is wave optics or physical optics. Means the branch of science which explains the properties of light like interference, diffraction and polarization by the consideration of the dimension of object which is much less than the wavelength of light, like narrow slits. When light is passes through a narrow slits whose dimension is very less when compared to the wavelength. In that situation, we can observe how the properties of light can be changes. So that branch of science is called as wave optics. But in this session, we focused on the ray optics. Coming to the basic important terms which are frequently used in the ray optics. That is, the first one is what is ray and what is beam of light. What are the different types of beam of light? Later, we explain what is phenomenon of reflection and laws of reflection. Later, we explain what is a plane mirror, what is a spherical mirror, how the light can be reflected in the both cases, plane mirror as well as spherical mirror. Coming to the definition of ray. Ray means the straight path along which the light travels is called as a ray. So this is the representation of a light ray. Means we observing that what is the straight path in which the light can be travels. That straight path is called as a ray. Coming to the what is beam of light. So the bundle of the rays of lights are called as beam of light. Suppose here we are observing that these are the ray of light. We can consider all the bunch of the ray of light. The bunch of ray of light is called as beam of light. Depending upon the pattern of the ray of light, whether the ray of light are approaching to a common point or the ray of light are diverged from the point of source of light into different directions, and the ray of lights are moving in the straight path in the parallel position. We can classify the beam of light into three types. First one is divergent beam of light. So divergent beam of light means if the ray of lights are moving away or diverged from the point of source of light, that pattern of beam of light is called as divergent beam of light. So this is observed in the case of street light. We are observing how the light rays are moving from the point of the source of light, which is distributed randomly in all directions and produce the light rays. So the divergent beam of light is observed in case of street lights. And coming to the second one, convergent beam of light. What is convergent beam of light? It is also called as pencil of beam of light. Means if the ray of lights are approaching or meeting to a common point, such a pattern of light rays are called as convergent beam of light. So the convergent beam of lights are widely used in the medical diagnosis. In the case of ENT, means ear, nose, throat, and also used in the dental surgery. In order to identify the cavity in the teeth, the dental surgeon focus the light where we observing all the light rays appears are meeting to one common point. So that is called as convergent beam. In the case of solar water heaters, there also we observing the light rays which are coming from different directions are converging at one common point. So such type of light rays are called as convergent beam of light rays. And the last one is parallel beam. If the light rays travels in a straight path and the separation between all the light rays are equal, such a beam of light rays are called as parallel beam of light rays. So the light rays which are coming from the sun reaching towards the earth is the best example for the parallel beam of light rays. So these are the three types of beam of light rays. Next, coming to what is reflection. What are the laws of reflection and what is angle of deviation. Now we observe what is reflection, what are the laws of reflection and what are the types of reflection depending upon the surfaces on which the light is incident. Coming to the reflection, we know the definition of reflection in our lower class. that is 10th class. Even though we learn the reflection, once again we can define what is reflection. Here simply observing the diagram. XY is the plane mirror. What is a plane mirror? It is a plane sheet of transparent material on one side and the other side is coated with silver. So this is coated with silver which is acting as a perfect reflector, and the other surface is a plain sheet of glass which is reflect the light when it falls on its surface. So if you observing, PQ is the light ray which strikes on the glass surface. Some part of light is absorbed by the plane mirror and the remaining part of light is reflected in the same medium in the direction of QR. And NO or NP is the normal drawn at the point of incidence. So basing on the diagram, how we can define reflection? The phenomenon of change in the direction of light path without change in the medium is called as reflection. Here we are observing that the incident ray or the light ray PQ changes its path without change in the medium. So this medium is called as rare medium, which is represented by air. So after rebounces of light takes place, that is moving in the same medium which is called as rare medium. But the direction of the path of light is changes. That phenomenon is called as reflection. So the phenomenon of change in the direction of path of light without change in the medium with the same speed of light is called as reflection. Okay, so this is a definition of reflection. What are the laws of reflection? The first law is the angle of incidence is always equal to angle of reflection. So from the diagram we can observe that XY is the plane mirror, PQ is the incident ray which strikes on the plane mirror and gets reflected in the same medium in the form of a reflected ray represented by QR. So QR is reflected ray, PQ is incident ray. Draw a normal N at the point of incidence Q. So this normal makes two angles with the incident ray PQ and with the reflected ray QR. The angle between the incident ray and normal is called as angle of incidence. That is represented by letter I. The angle between the normal and the reflected ray is called as angle of reflection, represented by letter R. So by the experimental evidence, the first law indicates that the angle of incidence is always equal to angle of reflection. Means angle I is equal to angle R. This is the first law of reflection. Got it? Coming to the second law. Here we can observe that PQ is called as incident ray. So incident ray, reflected ray and the normal drawn at the point of incidence are always lies in the same plane. Same plane means that is nothing but this plane. So this plane means the whiteboard. So the incident ray, reflected ray, normal drawn at the point of incidence are always lies in the same plane. Same plane means in the whiteboard. That can be represented like this. So this is the plane which is in the whiteboard. So all the three rays are always lies in the same plane. So this is the law of reflection. Second law of reflection. Coming to the what is deviation angle or angle of deviation. Suppose if we are observing that due to the presence of plane mirror, the incident ray PQ gets reflected in the path of QR. If the plane mirror is absence or in the absence of plane mirror, what is the path of the incident ray? According to rectilinear propagation, it is always move in the straight path like this. So it is always move in the straight path like this. So this is the path of the incident ray, that is PQ and S. So due to the presence of this plane mirror, the incident ray is reflected from the direction PQS to QR. So how so far the incident ray is deviated from its original path? By the presence of this plane mirror, that angle is called as angle of deviation. How we can define the angle between the incident ray means PQS and the angle mean between the reflected ray is called as angle of deviation. Simply we can define the angle between the incident ray PQS and reflected ray QR is called as angle of deviation delta. How we measure the angle of deviation? What is its value? That can be measured by using the straight angle. So the angle across the incident ray is always equal to 180. This is a straight angle, 180. But this is split into three parts. One is angle of deviation delta, and the second part is angle of reflection R, and the third part is angle of incidence. That means we can write here delta plus angle I plus angle R is equal to 180, straight angle. But we want to calculate angle of deviation. Delta is equal to 180 minus angle I plus angle R in bracket. But from first law of reflection, angle I is equal to angle R. So we can write 180 minus this is 2 multiplying I. Why? Because angle I is equal to angle R. Therefore, delta is equal to 180 minus 2I. The angle of deviation is always equal to 180 minus 2I. So this is the angle of deviation. Coming to what are the types of reflection depending upon the surfaces on which the light is incident. If the surface is a plane surface like plane mirror, then the parallel beam of lights which are strikes on the plane surface gets reflected in a particular direction. Particular direction means the reflected rays also is in the form of parallel beam of lights. So if the reflected rays arises after strikes the plane surfaces in a particular specific direction or parallel beam of lights, such a type of reflection is called as regular reflection. It is observed in the case of plane surfaces. And the second one is diffused reflection. If the surface is in irregular shape or uneven shape, even though the parallel rays of lights are incident on this irregular surface, then the reflected rays are moving in random direction like this. So after reflection of this second ray, the ray is reflected in this direction and the first ray is reflected in this direction. So there is no specific direction after reflection observed in the case of irregular surfaces. This type of reflection is called as diffuse reflection. So diffuse reflection plays an important role in our daily life. Due to diffuse reflection only, we can observe all the parts of any object clearly. But in the case of regular reflection, we observe the bright intensity on one side and the dark intensity on the other side. So the diffuse reflection plays a vital role or a wide role in our daily life to observe all the objects very clear. So this is the topic of reflection, laws of reflection. and angle of deviation and types of reflection. Now what is spherical mirror? What are the types of spherical mirrors? How the reflection of light can be takes place in the two spherical mirrors. Coming to the spherical mirror. A hollow sphere in which the reflecting surface is a part of it is called a spherical mirror. Already we know a plane mirror. Plane mirror means it is a thin transparent sheet on one side and the other side is coated with silver. So this is called as plane mirror. Suppose it is bent in the curved shape such that the plane sheet is made with glass on one side and the other side is coated with silver. Then that pattern is called as spherical mirror. So this is the spherical mirror. This is also a spherical mirror. Suppose this part of the spherical mirror is inserted in a given sphere, then that hollow sphere of which the reflecting surface is a part of it is called as the spherical mirror. So depending upon the curved or reflecting surface towards the center or away from the center, we can classify the spherical mirrors into two types. First one is concave mirror. Concave mirror means if the reflecting surface of this spherical mirror is facing towards the center of the sphere of which the mirror forms a part, that mirror is called as concave mirror. So the representation of concave mirror is like this, or simply we can represent a concave mirror is like this, in which the reflecting surface is always facing towards the center of the sphere. Coming to the second one, convex mirror. If the reflecting surface which lies outside the spherical mirror is away from the center of the mirror, then it is called convex mirror. So the reflecting surface away from the center of the mirror is called convex mirror. So these are the two types of mirrors depending upon the reflecting surfaces facing towards or away from the center of the mirror. So in order to observe the nature of image or the size of the image formed by the two types of mirrors due to reflection. So what are the important terms to be frequently observed in the two types of mirrors? So the following are the important terms which are very important and useful to derive some relations, that is object distance, image distance and focal length. So what are the important definitions which are coming to the two types of mirrors? They are as follows. First one is pole, center of curvature, radius of curvature, principal axis, principal focus, focal length. So what is pole? Either of the two mirrors. Pole means the center point of the mirror is called pole. So this is the concave mirror. So this P is the center point of the given concave mirror. So the center point of the concave mirror is called pole. Similarly in the case of convex mirror, so this is also called as pole. The center part of the concave mirror or spherical mirror is called pole. It is represented by letter P. Coming to the second one, center of curvature. Center of curvature means the center of sphere of which the mirror forms a part is called center of curvature. Here we are observing that, so this reflecting surface or the concave mirror to become a part of the sphere, whose center is to be acting as the center of curvature of the given spherical mirror. So we can simply write center of sphere of which the mirror forms a part is called as center of curvature, represented by letter C. Okay. And coming to the what is radius of curvature? Radius of curvature means the radius of the sphere of which the mirror forms a part is called radius of curvature. Suppose if you are observing a concave mirror, radius of curvature means the radius of the given mirror of which the reflecting surface or the mirror is a part of the sphere. So that is called as the radius of curvature of the given either concave mirror or convex mirror. So radius of curvature is nothing but PC represented by letter R. So radius of curvature is PC is equal to R in this diagram. And the next one is principal axis. What is principal axis? The straight line passing through center of curvature and pole of the mirror is called principal axis. Here we are observing that this is the center of the given concave mirror. P is the pole of the mirror. If you draw a straight line which connect the two points, so the straight line which passing through center of curvature, pole of the mirror is called as the principal axis. It is extended on the either side of the given mirror. So this is called principal axis. And coming to the principal focus. Principal focus means here we are observing the two diagrams. So this is the CP is called as the principal axis. So these are the four rays which are parallel to the principal axis. These rays or strikes are incident on the reflecting surface. What happens? They get reflected and meeting or converges to at one point on the principal axis. So the point at which on the principal axis all the reflected rays are meet or converge after parallel beam of light incident on the reflecting surface is called principal focus. Here we can clearly observe that these are the reflected rays due to the parallel beam of rays which strikes at different points on the reflecting surface and meet at one point on the principal axis. So this converging point is called principal focus. So the point at which on the principal axis all the reflected rays converge or appears to come from that point is also called as principal focus. In the case of convex mirror, here we can observe that, so these are the four parallel rays which strikes on the outer reflecting surface. After reflection, if we extended the reflected rays in the backward direction, so this is the point where all the reflected rays are coming from that point. So this point is also called as the principal focus. So we can clearly observe that this is the point where all the rays appears to come from that point in the case of convex mirror. So this is also the principal focus in case of convex mirror. Coming to the last one, focal length. What is focal length? The distance between the principal focus and the pole of the either mirror is called as focal length. So the distance between the pole P and the principal focus F is called focal length. So this is represented pole and this is focus. The distance between the two is represented by small letter f called focal length. So this is also called the distance between the pole and focus is called focal length. So these are the important terms observed in the case of two types of spherical mirrors. Let's observe what are the rules for ray diagram to identify the clear image formed by the reflected rays in the two types of mirrors, that is concave mirror and convex mirror. So first we observe the rules for ray diagram in case of concave mirror. So these are the shapes of the concave mirror. So this is the principal focus. Already we defined the important terms, definitions in the previous lesson. So that is center of curvature, focus and pole. So the first rule is, if the light ray which is parallel to the principal axis is incident on the concave mirror gets reflected and passing through the principal focus. So that can be represented like this. So this is the ray which is parallel to the principal axis. After strikes are incident on the reflecting surface and reflection takes place, it passes through the principal focus. So this is the principal focus. So the ray which is parallel to the principal axis, after reflection it is always passes through the principal focus. So this is called rule 1 of ray diagram. Coming to the second one. Suppose if you observe in that, if the ray which is passing through the principal focus, after reflection it becomes parallel to the principal axis. That is the converse of the first one. Suppose if you observe in that, this is the ray which is passing through the principal focus. So after incident on the concave mirror gets reflected and becomes parallel to the principal axis. So that is like this. So this is the reflected ray which is parallel to the principal axis of the concave mirror. So this is called rule 2. And the third one is, suppose, so this is center of curvature, this is principal focus. If the ray which is passing through the center of curvature of the concave mirror, the ray is like this. So this is the center of curvature. If the ray which is passing through the center of curvature of concave mirror is always retraces in the same path in the opposite direction after reflection takes place. So the direction of the reflected ray is like this. So whatever the direction of the light ray that passes through the center of curvature of the concave mirror is retraced the path in the backward direction. So without changing the path of the incident light which strikes on the concave mirror. This is called rule 3. And the final rule is, here we are observing the final rule. So center of curvature, and this is focus, and this is pole. Suppose if the light ray incident at the pole of the concave mirror with certain oblique angle, let us say this is theta. So if the light ray strikes obliquely at the point pole, then it gets reflected symmetrically that obey the laws of reflection. Means the reflected ray is also having the same angle of incidence. So this is also equal to theta. This is rule 4. So if the light ray strikes the concave mirror obliquely with some angle, then the reflected ray is also having the same angle that obeys the laws of reflection. Means suppose this angle is taken as angle of incidence. After reflection, the angle made by the reflected ray with the principal axis is taken as angle of reflection. According to law of reflection, angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. So these are the four rules to be followed to observe the clear image formed by the concave mirror. Similarly, we are observing the same pattern in the case of convex mirror. So convex mirror means the reflecting surface is away from the center of curvature. First we are observing in the case of convex mirror. So this is the first case. So the convex mirror is taking like this. So this is the polyester surface. So inner side is silver coated. The outer side of the mirror is reflecting surface. So this is pole and this is focus and this is center of curvature. So what is the first rule? If the light ray strikes parallel to the principal axis, always passing through focus. So this is the direction of the reflected ray. In this case, already we define principal focus. What is principal focus? The point at which all the reflected rays are converge or to meet in the case of concave mirror. But in the case of convex mirror, the rays appears to move from the one point. That point is called as principal focus in the case of convex mirror. Here we are observing that this light ray appears to be moving from this point after reflection. So this is called as the reflected ray which is passing through the principal focus in the case of convex mirror. Coming to the second one. Second one means here we can draw the same diagram. So this is pole. So this is focus. This is center of curvature. So what is the second rule? If the light ray which is passing through focus after reflection, it gets parallel to the principal axis. Here we are observing that. So this is the light ray which is passing through principal focus. It gets a reflection and becomes parallel to the principal focus. So this is the incident light ray which is passing through the principal focus, appears to be, and after reflection it becomes parallel to the principal axis. And the third one, which is similar to the concave mirror. So this is third. So this is inner surface silver coated. So this is the center of curvature. Suppose if you are observing that if the light ray which is passing through the center of curvature, that means here. So this is the light ray which is passing through the center of curvature of the convex mirror. This is pole, this is focus. After reflection, it is again retrace its path in the opposite direction, similar to the concave mirror. So this is the ray diagram, rule 3 in the case of convex mirror. So what is the last rule in the case of concave mirror? The ray which strikes at the pole obliquely or with some angle gets reflected obliquely with the same angle by obeys the laws of reflection. And the last one is like this. So this is principal focus. If the ray which strikes obliquely with angle theta with the principal axis, it gets reflected with the same angle of incidence that obeys the loss of reflection. Means angle I is equal to angle R. So these are the four rules of ray diagram to observe the clear image of the object. So in order to form the image, we can consider any three rays, whether the parallel ray or the ray which is passing through the focus or the ray which is passing through the center of curvature. So by following the rules, we can easily form the image of any given object. Now we find the relation between radius of curvature and focal length of the given concave mirror. So what is the relation between the two? That can be derived by using a simple diagram. So this is the given concave mirror whose aperture is very small. So aperture is very small means if you measure the angles, means tan theta and sin theta should be nearly equal to theta. Later we observe how we can measure the angles. So this is the concave mirror. So C and F and P are respectively center of curvature, principal focus and pole of the given concave mirror. So we observing that. So this is the focal length, means distance between the pole and principal focus is called focal length. And the distance between pole and center of curvature is represented by letter R. Let us observe AM is the parallel ray which strikes at point M on the reflecting surface of concave mirror. So according to rule 1, when a ray which is parallel to the principal axis, after reflection it passes through the principal focus. So according to the first rule, this ray is passing through the principal focus after reflection like this, which is represented by MF. So we are observing that the center of curvature is always act as the normal for the incident ray and the reflected ray. So we apply the first law of reflection. What is the first law? The angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. So the angle between A and C is called as angle of incidence. Let us say this is theta. So what is angle of reflection? That is nothing but CMF, the angle between the reflected ray and the normal. So this is also equal to theta. Then we observing, we can consider this angle is theta. So this angle is also equal to theta. Why? Because these are called as alternatively opposite angles. So this should be equal to theta, this is also equal to theta. So we can take the triangles, or we can draw normal from the point M along the principal axis. So this is 90. This point is represented P dash. So this is P, this is P dash. Here already we said that if the aperture of concave mirror is very small, then we assuming that the P dash should be nearly equal to the P. Means if we measure the distance FP dash, that is nearly equal to FP. So in that situation, we can observing that the aperture is very small. So the aperture of mirror is very small. So means FP dash nearly equal to FP and CP dash nearly equal to, so we can write PC is nearly equal to PC dash. That means here theta is very small. Means we can write tan theta is nearly equal to theta and tan 2 theta is nearly equal to theta. So these are the assumptions to be observed due to the aperture is very small. Here we can observe that from the triangle MCF, we can clearly observe that these are the two opposite internal angles. So the sum of the two opposite internal angles should be equal to the exterior angle, that is nothing but this angle 2 theta. So here we can write so this is angle theta and this is angle theta. So this is M, this is C and this is F. So this angle should be equal to 2 theta. So in any triangle, the exterior angle is equal to the sum of the two opposite interior angles. So this is 2 theta. Let's find the relation between focal length and radius of curvature. First we can take the triangle MCP dash. So we can take the triangle MCP dash. So we can write first triangle MCP dash. So we can find the value of theta. So we can find tan theta is equal to opposite side by adjacent side. Then we can write tan theta is equal to opposite side means we can write MP dash by adjacent side means we can write PC. So this is called equation 1. Or we can substitute the values of PC. So what is the value of PC? That is nothing but radius of curvature. So we can write MP dash by R. So this is equation 1. Again, from the another triangle, that is MFP dash. So from the second triangle MFP dash, we can find the value of tan 2 theta. So tan 2 theta again, opposite side by adjacent side. Opposite side means MP dash by adjacent side means P dash F. So this can be taken as P dash. But here we can write P dash C is equal to PC. Already we mentioned the same condition. P dash C is equal to, so this can be taken as P dash C is equal to PC. So we can write MP dash by P dash C is equal to PC means nothing but radius. Here also we can apply the same condition that P dash F is nearly equal to PF. So what is the value of PF? PF is nothing but the focal length of concave mirror. Then we can write tan 2 theta is equal to MP dash by P dash F is equal to PF. So therefore PF is equal to nothing but focal length. So we can write focal length. So this is equation 2. If the aperture is very small, then we can assume that tan theta is nearly equal to theta, tan 2 theta is nearly equal to 2 theta. So then we can eliminate tan in the two equations. So from the first equation, theta is equal to MP dash by R. And from second equation, 2 theta is equal to MP dash by F. So this is from equation 1 and 2. So from equation 1 and 2 we can write theta is equal to this one, 2 theta is equal to this one. So we can write left hand side 2 theta by theta. Divide the 2 theta by theta. Similarly on the right hand side 2 theta means Fp dash. So Mp dash by F. So this becomes R by F mean Mp dash. So cancel Mp dash. and we get R by F. So cancel theta on the left hand side. Finally we get 2 is equal to R by F. Then we can write R is equal to 2F. So this is the relation between radius of curvature and focal length. So radius of curvature is always equal to twice the focal length of the concave mirror. So this is the relation between radius and focal length of concave mirror. Similarly, you will derive the relation between R and F in case of convex mirror. This is left for you to derive the same procedure, and the relation should be equal to R is equal to 2F. Okay.